Back in Kerala,
it's not a very business-friendly state. I mean, because I think there were too many intellectuals theorizing and talking about politics and state of the world in coffee shops and tea shops around the corners. And you know what? I heard that one person in 3 or 4 people in a family actually is in Middle East, sending money back home, so the other people don't have to work. So people can sit around in the chai shops commenting about life.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's part of the reason, apparently, why Kerala, where you're from, has been a very not great place for business, because people don't have to work, because they have somebody else is funding their lifestyle in a lot of ways. This is the Ocio Show with Rahul, where I have deep conversations with interesting people on topics that are meaningful, slightly personal, and perhaps controversial. Roll with this. I could do this all day. I could do this all day. Back up, I'ma run this town. I'm headed for the top, and you know it's going down.
How you measure the intelligence at that time in the school system was you are just memorizing a lot of words and the lessons.
Rote memorization.
And then you exactly explain that memory into the paper.
What they say is it goes from the professor's brain to the blackboard to your book.
Exactly.
And then back to your exam paper, not to your brain. Sometimes.
And I kind of really didn't like the way I was learning. So that young age, the tender age, I felt really disconnected with the learning system. And I kind of lost interest in a little bit of the learning system, because I thought mathematics is beautiful. But even the way they taught it in such a way that, you have to learn it this way, I didn't understood what is a real application, right? I'm type of kid, give me a house to build and give me geometry, then I will understand geometry well, because that's a tool I need to use really. So I was more into a pragmatic studies rather than something
so you bring up a good point about the education system in a lot of parts of the world, including in India and China, I heard, and in some parts of Europe, which is very learning by rote memorization. You know what Albert Einstein said, I think, about if you judge a cat by its ability to climb high trees, and if you judge a monkey by its ability to be very domesticated at home, both are gonna fail you in life, right? So you have to judge the right kids by the right sort of factors, is what I believe. I believe that I've heard this from some people that I think we all like to hang out with people who are similar-minded, like-minded. So if you're sort of a smart person, you want to hang out with other smart people. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to hang out with other people who think alike. So people generally tend to move to places there's concentration of people who think the same way. That's why there's always a concentration of people who like tech around Silicon Valley, finance, let's say in New York or London. Tell us a little bit about what does a fencing and railing company do?
So let's say you are a client and you need a fence.
So a residential fence.
A residential client. So you have
an aging fence that is breaking down.
Correct. And then that linear feet of fence. And then our job is to measure that requirements, correctly assess the materials. So when a fence involved is a post, rail, and pickets. This is the 3 things. And you dig a hole. That's the biggest job in the fencing business. You dig a hole, you put the post, and once you did that, the rest is pretty straightforward. Say for example, your material cost will be around 20-25%, and your another 15% is your labor cost. So 35% of, then you get around close to 65% of leftover. That 65% you have to run your other business like marketing budget and your other employees.
with AI revolution and boom, the last set of jobs that will be lost to AI are apparently the physical and construction jobs.
Yeah.
So it's also an AI-proof business, but don't you think, in some ways?
It is. I mean, that's...
For at least, 10, 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, for example, the humanoids is there.
Do you think the humanoid robots is going to do your fencing job?
There could be. So there are a lot of the digging instruments has automated to an extent, but it's still humans has to carry that digging instrument to that places.
I think it's going to be I think they're going to look at all these contractor jobs as the last frontier. Somebody's going to make money on it, but the last frontier for AI automation, because robot comes in, does your hammer in one different point, then at different point, you have liability. If they would amend some of these immigration laws for people on their work visas to start companies, I think would bring more innovation and prosperity to America.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
read this report that in Silicon Valley, I could be wrong on the exact number, but 30 to 40% of the startups have an immigrant founder. America was founded on immigrants coming here for better life.
Right.
And if we could make that process a little easier, that would, I think, increase the GDP.
Yesterday, I went to bed like 2 a.m. and I'm here, got up 5 a.m. I was here 9 o'clock. I was never motivated when I was an employee, but I could, when we got our warehouse and our offices in a bad shape.
Yeah, you're working for yourself.
I was working
you're
for
building equity for yourself, and you're living the American dream.
Yeah, and I'm so happy, and I would say that I would recommend everybody goes through that experience. Then you will find along the way, when you start, you find the problems and you solve the problems, and that is when the magic is. Then you kind of see, for example, once you started creating, you can never stop. You just goes next and next.
And technically, people don't associate creativity in business, but you could be creative in business. I mean, I would argue that all the Fortune 500 companies at some point were just startup ideas, and you make it into a multi-billion-dollar business. You think about companies like Instagram and Snapchat. All they offer you is some filters and some photo options, and now boom, they're like multi-billion-dollar businesses. I find that refreshing about America, that any job, whether you're a janitor or you're a server in McDonald's, there's a dignity of labor and dignity of business, and any kind of venture and entrepreneurship is celebrated in some ways. I think in India, this is my take on this, there's still vestiges of the remnants of the caste system. In India, in a lot of sectors, you're running a fencing business that you're running here would be considered, we call it dhanda. Like people are doing, you're a businessman, but you're doing something bad to make your money. In general, there's a frowning down upon in a lot of parts of society if you're running a business. But if you're a bank officer or if you're one of those government jobs, that's celebrated. So I feel like a country that celebrates something, elevates that particular thing. When I came to America many years ago, coming from a different culture, I was just trying to imbibe America a lot. So I went to this bar, not far from here. And I was just talking to it's a very small bar, talking to this bartender owner of the bar. And we were just generally talking about communism and socialism and capitalism. The discussion was around, what's capitalism? And he gave me the best definition I actually still carry around. He said, hey, I love brewing beer and I love people having my beer, and if I'm making a few bucks serving people a beer they love and something which I love to do, why not? And that's capitalism, because you're doing something you like for somebody you want to serve who wants it, and you're making a few bucks out of it, and may more people do more of that in life, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, this is how the world works, and I thought that was a beautiful definition of capitalism, I thought. you're from Kerala. I mean, we both are from Kerala. What do you like about that place?
Food.
That's one thing I tell everybody. Do you think it's really the food or is our gut bacteria? Because we're used to food from where we were born and raised.
Yeah, I mean, the food actually is
Yeah.
I love biryani, right? For
Biryani,
example.
okay. Is it like Calicut biryani or is it Talasheri biryani?
I mean, any biryani. So basically, I tried biryani.
You like eating or you like making?
Both.
Both. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're a decent cook.
I'm a
now.
very decent cook. And I actually love the food culture in Kerala. Not just me. I mean, I introduced...
And I heard that it's the culinary culture is very mixed. So there's Arab cuisine mixed in. There is this whole Christian influence from early Middle Ages. And then of course there's always the North Indian and other South Indian cuisines mixed into the Kerala cuisine. So it's a very mixed cuisine.
And the coconut oil.
Which apparently is very healthy. So your favorite Kerala dish?
I mean, I would say very good meat
Other
curry.
than biryani.
It's a fish curry.
Which fish?
Any fish, for example, there's you get the fried and you get the curry stuff. But sardine. Is
Mathi.
Mathi
Mathi curry.
is very...
Mathi curry with what?
Mathi curry with a simple chore and a tide and papaddum.